brain seek 5 times per second? What do you think? It's happening unconsciously, but 5 times every second, your brain is seeking this. I have the best job. I get to speak virtually to wonderful audiences like this and all around the world on stages. And whenever I ask this question, only twice has an audience gotten the right answer. And isn't that fascinating? Our brain, or the human brain, is seeking something. And a lot of us aren't aware what this thing is. But once I tell you, you're going to be like, aha, yes, of course, that's it. So what is it seeking? Safety. Your brain is asking, am I safe? All the time. Am I safe? Am I safe? You know, you're assessing your physical surroundings, people around you, constantly wondering, am I safe? So all of the questions that keep you and I up at night around our career and work are things like this. Do I have what it takes to do my job? Do I have the sensibility to lead a diverse team, or confidence to ask for a promotion? The crux, if we boil these questions down, it comes down to safety. So that's what we're going to talk about in this step number 2, is essentially psychological safety and how it addresses the most fundamental question of humanity, which is, am I safe? And psychological safety is the foundation for meaningful connection. And for those that aren't aware, psychological safety is this idea of feeling psychologically safe around others, to where you can freely have an opinion and speak up and not feel like you're going to be reprimanded or dismissed. This idea of being psychologically safe. So to further flesh this out, I want to share a story. And many of you, well, typically when I ask folks who this gentleman is in this picture, no one knows. I've had one person figure out who it was, and it was a well, I won't go into that. But this person, he is the chief engineer, or was the chief engineer, of building the Golden Gate Bridge. This is Joseph Strauss. Now, Joseph Strauss did something remarkable. During the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge back in 1933, there wasn't a lot of safety involved. In fact, back then, it was very dangerous to build bridges, and typically for every $1 million that was spent to build a bridge, it typically equated into 1 death. The Golden Gate Bridge was on track to cost about $35 million to build, so that was going to equate to about 35 deaths. And Joseph Strauss said, nope, not on my watch. I'm going to do something about this. And he wanted to keep his team safe. So here's what he did. He actually installed a safety net underneath the bridge, which was groundbreaking at the time. This was not something that was normal. And everyone thought he was crazy because they thought he was going to come way over budget. It was going to prolong, the building of the bridge. So he was going to overshoot all these deadlines that he was up against. And everyone just thought it was nuts. But he thought, nope, the safety of my team is most important. And so he did it. And here were the results. They completed the bridge ahead of schedule. It increased productivity by 25%. And this is my favorite. The bridge cables were constructed 4 times faster than had been considered even possible. So here's a picture of the net that Joseph Strauss constructed underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. And during construction, 19 workers accidentally fell into that safety net, and they were able to gather themselves and jump right back up to work. So here's the crux of it. Here's the crux of why I'm sharing this story. Workers weren't focused on their safety anymore, but rather their success. That question in their brain of, am I safe, that was spinning 5 times every second, because of that safety net, they were able to dial that down, quiet that down, so that the workers could actually show up for each other and show up for the project and for their clients and customers. So that's the power here of creating safety. Specifically, psychological safety is the net for today's modern workers to be seen, heard, and valued. So let me ask you, what safety nets need to be in place to make your team feel seen, heard, and valued? So let me give you one example to kind of help flesh this out even further. We'd love to use the example of Nelson Mandela, who one of the reasons he became such a great and beloved leader is he had a great model of leadership in his father. And he would watch his father lead in the community. And his father would always hold meetings in a circle. And he would always be the one that was last to speak. So there's been a lot of studies done around psychological safety, and it is the core thing that helps teams perform the best, is having a psychological safe environment. And more specifically to that, what creates psychological safety across a team is the opportunity to have proportional conversations, meaning everyone feels like they have the same amount of time to be seen, heard, and valued. And so when leaders can speak last, that gives the proportionate conversations to be had. We've probably all been in those meetings. Maybe you're one of those that speaks first as a leader in the meeting, or the most senior person, or the go-to person on the project. And as soon as you speak, everyone else falls in line, and you don't get to hear all those other ideas and gather them. It can really sidetrack a whole project and meeting. So for Mandela, his safety net was space, to create space for people to have that voice. And specifically, he did that by speaking last, just like his father did.